There seems to be some confusion about certain terms that we regressives regularly use. There are some dullards out there who are somewhat more obtuse than the average dullard who listens so uncritically to my horse. But the Republican Party largely exists because of these knuckle dragging simpletons, of which there seems to be an inexhaustible supply. So, for their sake, I want to decode some of the more common dog whistles used by real Americans. This is Rush Limbaugh for Dummies, although that may seem redundant. When we Republicans say Americans, we mean angry white Anglo Saxon males who have a superiority complex. We don't mean, as my good friend Ted Nugent would say, subhuman mongrels. We don't mean blacks. We don't mean Hispanics. We don't mean Asians. We don't mean gays. We don't mean liberals. We don't mean elitists. We don't mean MSNBC. We don't mean tree huggers. We don't mean scientists. We don't even mean women. Anyone who does not agree with our ass backward, regressive worldview or our corrupt vulture capitalist agenda is not an American. Real Americans are willing to lie to our citizens, send them off to unjust wars, shred the Constitution, abridge civil liberties, suspend habeas corpus, spy on our fellow citizens without warrant, abuse human rights, condone torture, commit war crimes, and stop the communists and the socialists and the subhuman mongrels from voting in our elections, all the while working to make the planet uninhabitable, just so a handful of job creators can make a few $1 billion more. If any of these commies or subhuman mongrels mistake what we say as being inclusive of them, that is only proof of their low intelligence quotient. We Republicans find it amusing when any of these inferiors refer to themselves as Americans. Real Americans know who they are, and they know what we mean when we say real Americans. When we say liberal or Democrat or progressive, we mean socialist, Marxist, communist. They are the enemies of real America, who are undermining this democracy by taxing hard-working billionaires and giving their money to the lazy subhuman mongrels. Subhuman mongrel is another code word of sorts. The Nuge is not one of our more subtle knuckle draggers, but I admire any draft dodging coward who has the courage to all over himself to avoid serving his country in a time of war. He is my kind of Republican, not too bright, but full of himself. When he uses the term subhuman mongrel, he means, well, you know what he means. Likewise, when Paul Ryan, says inner city men not even thinking about working, he means lazy, well, you know what he means. When I say uppity, when I say uppity, you know exactly what I mean without me having to say it. It's a game. This is the trick, folks. So long as we never publicly say the word, no one can prove that we're racist. So when we say we're for states' rights, well, you know that means we're for segregation. In the case of my good friend Clive Bundy, it means that we're pro-slavery. It doesn't mean that we're racist. It just means that we don't like, well, you know who we don't like. Folks, there are two Americas, still separate and unequal. One is made up of delusional, intolerant, gun-toting Republican liars and hypocrites, like myself, who say that we believe in Jesus Christ, but there is nothing Christ-like about anything that we say or do. The other America is made up of left-wing communist socialists and lazy, uppity, subhuman mongrels who suggest, as Christ is alleged to have done, that we should give away our wealth, feed the poor, and love our enemies. Having never read the Bible, if that is what it actually says, then it is communist propaganda, and you can forget about me being a Christian. For you cannot serve two masters. If the choice is between serving God or serving Mammon, and I think I speak for all Republicans, we choose Mammon. Finally, when I say dittohead, I mean fool. I mean dummy, dolt, dunce. I mean dim-witted dumb lobotomized lemming, fucking douchebag, sickening sucking sheep, delusional, brain-dead, soulless cretin. But it's just easier to say diddlehead. Without you easily propagandized ignoramuses, I wouldn't be the most successful equivocator and snake oil salesman in the history of the world. So, mega dittos to all you dip.